You know, times ain't so good right now. $100-a-day jobs don't come along every day in the week.
The reason he gave you, what was it?
He said he was flying up to Nevada. Something to do with uranium. He was going to look over a claim, I think he said.
And you believed him?
Oh, look, buddy, I told you he had a lot of cash. Paid me for 6 days. He could have said he was going to the moon.
You remember what he looked like?
Sure. He was a nice-looking guy. Had a very pleasant personality.
That all you can remember?
Well, he was a big guy and, like I said, a very pleasant personality. Who'd have thought he was a phony?
Thank you very much, Mr. Wolf. We'll be in touch with you.
Hey, but what about my copter?
Sorry, but we'll have to hang on to it for a while. It's been impounded as evidence, but we'll get it back to you as soon as possible.
Look, I need it now. I can rent it to a movie company. They're making a flying picture.
I'm trying to make a Western.
Oh, you sure you don't want to lie down for a while, honey? You look beat.
Ruthie, I've already told you I've got work to do. If I lie down, it piles up. I'll get buried under it.
But it can wait for an hour, can't it? Oh, darling, you shouldn't drive yourself like this. It isn't worth it. You've just got to relax.
Got to relax. Let me rub your forehead. Let me get your slippers. Ruthie, what do you know about this? Why don't you just leave me alone?
You mustn't fly off like that.
All right, so I won't fly off.
You won't make anything happen sooner by beating yourself. You know what Joe says. You've just got to have patience.
Yeah, I know what Joe says. And patience is fine for a guy like Joe. It goes with his 2-pants suit, his washable necktie, and his 49 car. For me, patience is poison.
Charlie, can't I help?
What could you do?
You've never tested me, Charlie.
Well, let's not begin now. Hello. I'll be there in a half hour. I'm sorry, baby. I gotta go.
Charlie.
What went wrong? What happened? Who got hurt?
Charlie, please.
Which one?
Lombard.
How?
His own gun had tripped getting in the plane.
Stupid fool. The getaway was timed.
Moving fast, Charlie. It was an accident.
An accident. I'll take that back. Now, we don't want any more accidents. What was he carrying a gun for? All he had to do was play sick and lie on a stretcher.
He had an idea that...
I had a timetable. For months, I studied the east and the westbound trains. I rode the coaches like a candy butcher. I memorized the baggage car. I studied the crew movements, the compartment layout. I rehearsed every move with you and Paul over and over and over.
What could we do? We had to stay with Lombard. We couldn't just let him die. You wouldn't have wanted that, would you? Would you, Charlie?
No, of course not. How bad is he?
Not good.
Let me have it straight. Will Lombard pull through?
Well, Paul keeps telling
Is Paul
us...
taking care of him now?
Yes, he's doing everything he can. Paul's still a good doctor, Charlie, as good as when I married him. He hasn't had a drink in 4 days.
He better not. Where are they?
In Chatsworth, Wolf took us to a place he
Wolf?
has...
You're full of surprises, aren't you? Wolf's part of the job was over when he landed that helicopter. I told Paul to pay everyone off and split up.
Oh, we had to go somewhere.
So Wolf steps into the picture.
Wolf doesn't know about you. He still thinks Paul planned it.
I still don't like it. Now that Wolf knows, we all run a risk.
What else could we do? Why did you switch the schedule? You were supposed to be in Mexico City. What are you doing here? You're the mastermind.
Shut up, Linda.
You'd every minute ticked off for each of us. You'd followed your own timetable. You'd have been there.
I'm telling you to shut up.
Well, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you carry out your end?
I couldn't, you little fool. I couldn't.
You mean you wouldn't? You thought Paul and I double-crossed you, didn't you? Didn't you?
I'm on the case, Linda. The company assigned me to recover the money. I could roll with that one. I thought you were in Mexico City, but when I called the hotel from Winston, you weren't there either. I nearly went out of my mind. I didn't know what had gone wrong. All I knew was I had to get back to L.A. if I had to lead them here by the hand. We found the plane. The blood. I nearly went crazy. Whose blood? Which one? It could have been yours.
I'm frightened.
There's nothing to be frightened of, Linda. What I know I can handle.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. There's nothing to be frightened of.
Aren't you ever afraid?
Why should I be? My job is to catch myself. From here on, I control everything. I know what they're looking for. I can stop them from finding it.
Sometimes you scare me.
There's nothing to be frightened of, Linda. It just takes more time. That's what going off schedule means. More time. Till they run themselves ragged and give up.
What about Paul? Maybe he won't want to wait.
What does it matter what he wants? He'll do what I tell him.
He has the money.
Tell him I want to see him tomorrow here with the money.
Here.
All right, Linda. There's nothing to be frightened of.
Charlie.
I love you, Linda.
Took your time.
I had to be careful. Wasn't sure this was a place. Then I heard the music. Little Linda's favorite song. Health, happiness.
The money?
It's all there.
The key.
Here. Very nice. Yours?
No, it belongs to a friend of mine. What about Lombard? How is he?
Dead. Your friend isn't an enemy of alcohol, is he?
Lombard didn't have a chance.
I did everything I could, Charlie, short of transfusions, wonder drugs, and prayer. I was a very good surgeon, you know, until... What about that drink, huh?
What'd you do with the body?
Wolf's getting rid of it. Don't worry, Charlie. He knows what he's doing. A very good amateur undertaker, Wolf. Very expensive, too. That was a funeral that wouldn't wait. He wanted Lombard's share for doing the job.
Did you give it to him?
Sure, why not? What's $15,000? There's plenty to go around.
What about the ambulance boys? Pay them off, too?
Oh, yes. First night. They're out of the country by now. Just as you planned.
You did a great job, Paul. The only lead was the copter. I planned on that. Armstrong swallowed Wolf's story whole.
Armstrong?
Railroad's prize cop. We're a team.
Oh, yeah. Linda told me about that. Has great possibilities for a man with iron nerve. Poor Wolf. If he knew who you really are. He swallowed you for a cop.
They'll be too amused. I gotta be head and tail on the same coin. It means changing our plans.
Our plans? I hardly see, Charlie, how your personal complications affect me. I was in this for one thing, the money. Now I've got it, and I intend to enjoy it.
Just how are you thinking of doing that?
Going to Mexico. Just like you planned. We won't go together, that's all.
How far do you think you'd get? You're a fool, Paul.
Well, Charlie, I only meant to...
I know what you meant. Don't even think of it. We lost our chance for a quick getaway. Lombard's bungling fixed that. It's too late now, do you understand?
I could make it, Charlie. I know I could.
Without anybody to give you orders? There'd be a cop every 2 feet. You couldn't slip a bag of popcorn past them. They'd pick you up in 5 minutes.
What are we going to do? Charlie, what do you want us to do?
Hold up and wait. We got all the time in the world.
When can we go?
When I tell you and how I tell you. Paul, you're great. You're just great as long as you're following orders. But the next time you get an original idea, remember when we first ran into each other. You were trying to beat the company with a claim that any 10-year-old kid could have seen through.
Yes, I remember, Charlie. You pulled me out of that hole. I suppose you can pull us out of this one. What's next?
Get clear of Wolf's place and Wolf. Move into a motel. Don't spend more than one night. Keep moving south. Check with me every day. Let me know where you are. And wait.
All right. Well, get started. Don't you want to count it?
I trust you, Paul.
Sure you do. We trust each other. I'll have to tell Linda to be more careful with her lipsticks. Or will you tell her? And she said that she'd talk to you on the phone. Women. Oh, by the way, Charlie, you wouldn't have liked her blonde. Very unexciting.
Matter, Joe, you run out of notebooks?
What you can see, you can remember. My old man taught me this trick.
What was he, a football coach?
No, just a crack-a-barrel philosopher and sheriff of Haynesburg, Missouri. When he was on a case, he'd write everything down on a blackboard.
You ever solve anything that way?
Never missed one. He'd sit in front of it for hours studying the cold facts. When they'd sunk in, he'd erase them. Then he'd start thinking about people.
That's okay if you know who you're thinking about. But this isn't a case of who stole Farmer Brown's cow. What's the doctor for?
Nothing's turned up on any stolen medical supplies. No illegal drug sales. Anyway, that guy knew what he was doing when he came to giving a hypo. Just a possibility, that's all.
A lot of doctors in the country, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
You planning on checking all of them?
If I have to.
What happens when you get to the end of that line? What about all the retired medics? And those that have been barred from practice?
Look, we'll be checking a lot of things within the next few weeks. Most of it won't mean much, but every now and then something may jibe. When it does, we'll write it down. Keep your eye on that blackboard, Charlie. When we erase the facts, we've got our case.
I get it, Rosie. Norman speaking.
Oh, Charlie? Joe, can you meet me downtown, Lincoln Heights Station?
Yeah, what for?
I think we got the bum who drove the car from Riverside.
Okay. Give me a cigarette, will you, Joe? Thanks.
Let's try it again, Frankie.
Oh, give me a break, will you? I drove a car, that's all. I didn't have anything to do with the robbery. I didn't even know there was a robbery till I read it in the papers.
Stop picking long shots, Frankie. Your luck ran out.
He's here.
Okay.
It's true, you've got to believe me. Some guy came up to me.
What guy?
I don't know his name, just a guy. Said he'd seen me hanging around L.A. looking for a hungry buck. Wanted to know if I'd like to make some quick dough.
And you said sure.
What else could I say? Hey, I was down to eating beans. All he wanted me to do was send a wire to some character on the train and then drive a car out to a field in Riverside. That's all. A perfectly honest job. I thought it was legitimate.
What did he say he'd pay you?
Huh?
$1 an hour?
What did he pay you?
$5,000.
It's quite a day's pay. Go on.
I did it. I was in that field when he told me to be. Could have knocked me over when that copter came in.
They tell you what they'd been up to?
No, honest, they are. Honest, no. See, nobody said anything. All the way into San Badu. Nobody said nothing. Only this guy moaning and bleeding. Nobody saying anything. It gave me the creeps.
Come on, Frankie. That's a long drive.
I just told you, nobody said nothing. There was just this guy and...
What was it, Frankie? What did you just remember?
Well, was his dame, see?
What about the dame?
Well, this guy's moaning must have gotten on her nerves because she said a couple of things to one of the guys shut her up.
What'd she say?
I don't know. See, it sounded kind of foreign, like, Nam Breeze, or Nam, was Nam something.
Nombre de Dios. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's it.
Anything else you can remember?
No, nothing. That's all there was. See, I drove the car back to San Bernardino. The guy paid me off. He told me to scram.
Who paid you?
Sheesh. I don't know. It was dark. I couldn't see anything. I hung around San Bernardino a couple of days, and then I got restless. See, I'm always getting restless moving around.
Will you come in, please?
All right.
Ever seen this man before, Frankie? Recognize him?
Take your time.
No.
Is that all? That's all, Mr. Wolf. Thanks for coming down.
What do you want?
I'd just like a word with you, if you don't mind.
Why don't you guys leave me alone? I don't like people busted in here, cops or no cops.
I'm not a cop. I'm an insurance investigator.
Well, I don't need any, mister.
It's a cozy place you've got here.
Do you mind? I'm superstitious. You know, if I thought you were going to case my couch, I'd have had soft lights and sweet music.
No. No, I'd just like you to answer a couple of questions.
Now, look, mister. Why don't you go back to your insurance boss and tell him that you drew a blank? I already told you and that other guy, the cop, everything I know. I'm fresh out of answers.
Maybe you are and maybe you aren't.
What does that mean?
Frankie Page, he seemed to know you.
But it turned out he didn't, after all. You were there.
Yeah. A couple of nights in jail, though, may refresh his memory.
All right. You got something on your mind. What is it?
Did you kill Harry Lombard?
No.
When's the last time you saw him?
3 years ago.
You're lying, Wolf. Did you ever see Frankie Page before?
No.
Wolf, you're too sharp a poker player to run a bluff in a game like this.
What's that supposed to mean?
Frankie Page, you may remember. He may talk. It could mean 20 years. Count 'em, Wolf, 20.
Lay off me, will you?
You kill Harry Lombard and bury his body in Chatsworth?
Leave me alone.
You own a ranch in Chatsworth, don't you?
Is it a crime to own real estate?
No. Just so long as you don't use it as a private cemetery.
I told you I don't own nothing.
Not even Paul Bruckner?
No. No.
Come clean, Wolf. You've been tailed since the first day of this case. Every move, every phone call, everybody you saw. Why'd you kill Harry Lombard?
I didn't kill him. It was an accident. His gun went off, and then Bruckner...
Oh, you do know Bruckner. You and Bruckner, you planned this whole thing, didn't you?
No. No, it was Bruckner. He just came to me and asked me if I wanted to make some dough.
How do you know you weren't Simon Pure?
But somebody told him I used to fly wetbacks up from Mexico.
Who told him?
I don't know. Maybe his dame. I don't know. It was a long time ago. I just thought I was going to pick up some wetbacks near Winston. I don't know nothing about no robbery.
The DA wouldn't buy that if you were blind drunk, Wolf. 20 years.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. I was in on it. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't plan it. It was Bruckner. Bruckner was the brains. He set it up.
That's who you were protecting.
Sure. But no more.
You lead us to him?
What's in it for me?
Wolf, there's a time to wheel and a time to deal. This isn't your time.
Okay. They ran out on me. Him and his wife. They got all the dough. I didn't get nothing. A couple of grand, nothing.
You know where they are now?
Yeah, I know where they are. They were staying at my place in Chatsworth, and they left sudden, so I followed them. They're at a motel in Culver City. I'll write down the address for you.
You're remembering better all the time.
Something else you don't know. That dame ain't no blonde.
Go on.
And Bruckner. Bruckner took a bum rap as a medic.
This gets better all the time. And you will talk to the DA.
Why not? They ran out on me, didn't they? Sure, I'll talk. I'll tell them everything.
That's what I had to find out.
Papers are giving us a bad time. Have you read this one?
Yeah, I read it over a cold cup of coffee.
That isn't all that's cold. We've got a dead-end case. It's too bad. Wolf would have broken sooner or later.
He broke all right down the middle.
Yeah. No, thanks. I never thought he was the type. In fact, I still don't.
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? You saw him. He was cocky, a tough little guy. You'd never figure him to do the Dutch.
Maybe he wasn't as tough as we figured.
Yeah. Wolf had $65,000 buried in that hangar. You'd have thought he'd have had one big fling. Not shoot himself in a crummy room.
You never can tell what a conscience will do to a man. Can even destroy him.
Yeah, and a case.
I think I'll call Hendricks and have him take me off the case. See if I get a couple of weeks into Mexico before the summer's over.
You might as well, before you're too old to cross the border. As of now, we're nowhere.
That's what Ruth and I need. New places, new faces. Well, Joe, don't say it hasn't been fun.
Yeah, just one big party. Bring me back some jumping beans.
I'll do that. So long.
Hello, Armstrong. Just a minute, Charlie. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. That was the DA's office.
What they have to say?
From now on, we play it my old man's way. From here in, we're dealing with people.
What do you mean by that?
We've got Mr. Big, old Doc Sloan. He panicked during a routine customs inspection at Tijuana this morning. Tried to drive through the barrier. They shot him.
And?
He's dead.
Was there anyone with him?
Yeah. The woman. But she got away. They found $200,000 on him. She must have the rest. Well, Charlie, looks like you're going to Mexico after all.
You have another way I'd planned.
Look, why don't you call Hendricks before we leave? Once we get the woman, you've recovered the bulk of the money. Your job's over. So you and Ruth could take off from Tijuana.
Not a bad idea. She could pack and meet me down there Saturday.
Even if we don't pick up the woman right away, it'll give you and Ruth a chance to brush up on your Spanish. And that's not counting the money.
What money?
Why, the money you'd save on plane tickets. No tax in Mexico. You'd save $60.
Oh, sure. I forgot about that.
Every little bit helps, Charlie.
Good idea. I think I'll call Hendricks. He'll probably go for it.
Right, you do that. Then go home and pack a clean shirt. I'll pick you up in